Okay, welcome to another session in this series. In this session, we start with question number 5. Okay, the question says factorize completely this expression, which is 9x squared y minus 25y z squared. Right? Okay, so straight away I can see a difference of two squares right here. Difference of two squares because we have a lot of squares in the question. You have 9, which is a square. You have a squared, another square. You have 25, which is square of 5. And then you have z squared, which is another square, right? So let's write that down and then we see how best we can do it. So we have 9x squared y minus 25. Let's write the z before the y, okay? So we have z squared y. Okay, so now we can clearly see that we have 9s squared and then 25 z squared. We can change this 9 to 3 squared and then this 25 to 5 squared, because 5 squared is 25 and 3 squared is 9, right? So that you can have a difference of two squares, right? And then the y is a common term, so we can just factor that out of the bracket. Okay, so let's do that. So we have y outside the bracket, and we have 3 squared x squared minus 5 squared z squared bracket close. So now we can clearly see that this is a square and this is also a square. So we can just write 3x then square out and then 5z then square outside is the same thing, because if we expand this become 5 squared and z will become z squared. And also here we have 3 squared s squared if we expand, right? So it's the same thing. So let's write it. We have 3x squared minus 5z squared all into bracket y. Okay, so we've just simplified everything. So now we can clearly see a square here, a square here. So we can do our difference of two squares. Now, how do we do the difference of two squares? We add and then we subtract, right? 3x minus 5z. We add this, we multiply it with a subtraction of them, right? So that is it. So we don't have y. Then we have 3x plus 5z, and then we have 3x minus 5z. So this is our solution. Let's see if we have that in the equation. So we have here d, which is y, 3x minus 5z, 3x minus 5z here, and y, and then 3x plus 5z, which is right here. So our answer is D. Our answer is D. Cool. Let's move on to question number 6. Question number 6. It says factorize a squared minus a minus b squared. At once, I can see that this is also a difference of two squares, because here is a square and then here is also a square. We have a square here, have a square here, and then a square here. So difference of those two squares, right? So let's just do that. So we have a squared minus a minus b squared, right? And we know what we do. We add and then we subtract. We add them and then we subtract them as well. We add this together, these terms, and then we subtract them and then we multiply both, right? So just like we did over here. So let's do that. We're going to have in one bracket a here, this a minus this whole term, right? So minus a minus b, right? Then we have another bracket Then this a, again, we add it to this whole term. This a, we add it to this whole term. So plus a minus b. Right, so that is our expansion. So now let's break it down. So we are going to have a minus a, right? Then minus become positive, so plus b. So minus a plus b. Then here we have a plus a, then plus minus b, which will be minus b, plus a minus b, right? Okay, so plus a minus b. So now let's simplify. A minus a cancel out, then we have b here, right? So we have b. Then this side we have a plus a, which is 2a minus, then we have b. So let's write that down. 2a minus b. So this is our solution. This is our solution. Let's see if we have it in there. Let's see if you have it. Yes, it's right here. The first one, a. A is our solution. Cool. So let's shade that. All right. Let's move on to the next set of questions. This question 7, it says simplify. Let's expand this so we can see clearly. Okay. It says simplify this expression. Okay. Now, just looking at this, I can see something that is looking common, which is that we have x here, and we have x here, and we have x here. So that means, and then also we have 3 here, we have 3 here, we have 9 here. And then we know that 9 is a multiple of 3, because 3 times 3 is 9. That means you can factor 3 out, and you can factor x out, right? So let's do that. So we have 3x minus 9x squared over 3x. Now let's factor 3x. Let's factor 3x out. Let's factor this out of the expression, right? So let's bring it outside. Alright, let's bring it outside. We have 3x. So if we bring that outside, we'll be left with what? If we factor 3x out of here, we'll be left with what? 1, right? Because 3x times 1 will still give us 3x. So we have 1 here minus. And then if you factor 3x out of this expression, we're going to have, so we have 1 minus. And then you factor 3x out of this, what do you have? We're going to have 3x. Because if you multiply this 3x by 3s, you get 9s squared. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? Then we go down and write our 3x out. Okay? Okay, cool. So now we can see that we have 3x here and we have 3x here. So it can easily cancel out. This cancels this, right? So let's do that cancellation. So cancel. What are we left with? We're left with 1 minus 3x. So that is our answer. That is our answer. 1 minus 3x in here. Okay, it is d, right? So let's circle that. Cool. Let's go to question number 8. Question number 8 says factorize this expression. So let's write it down. We have x squared minus 2x minus 24. Okay, now how do we solve this kind of questions? What we do is we look for two factors, such that when you add them together, you get the coefficient of x. So let's say a and b, right? These are the two factors. If we add a and b, we should get negative 2. And then if we multiply a and b, we should get negative 24. Negative 24. Because we don't have a coefficient over here. If we had a coefficient over here, we would have multiplied this coefficient by the 24. But the coefficient over here is 1. So 1 times 24 is still 24. So a times b should give us what? Negative 24. Can you think of any numbers that's when you multiply, you get negative 24, and then when you add, you get negative 2? Yes. So those two numbers will be negative 6 and positive 4. Because when you add this, you get negative 2. Negative 6 plus 4, you get negative 2. And when you multiply negative 6 and 4, you get negative 24. So this is what to do now. So now we have x squared minus 6x plus 4x minus 24. This is what we do. We just put it in, because if you simplify this, you still return to negative 2x. So this is the same. This is equal. This expression is this expression is same as this expression, right? So cool, let's continue. Now we can group the terms and then we factor out, right? So let's group the terms. Let's group this, then group this, right? So now we can factor x out of here because x is common, so we bring x out, right? Then it will be left with what? X minus 6, right? And plus, so let's write it down. We have x out, then you have x minus 6. If you multiply this, you get this, right? So we have plus, then we factor 4 out, plus 4. Then we have x minus 6. Because if you factor 4 out of 24, you get 6, but 4 times 6 will give us 24, right? So now we can group our, now looking like this side of the expression and this side of the expression has what? X minus 6 s minus 6 is common to both sides, so we factor that out. So we're going to have x minus 6 outside, then we'll be left with x plus 4, right? Multiplying x plus 4. So this is our answer. This is our answer. Let's see, is it in the answers? We have x minus 6, x plus 4, x minus 6, x plus 4. So here it is, here. So we have B. Alright, so in the next session we're going to be moving on to question number 9. So we have to end there for now. Thank you very much for your time. See you again next time. Bye.